So this is the Good Ride review of the Forest Bailey 4. Got this for an extended demo. Thanks, Mervin. Just wanted to give it a breakdown here under the pretty lights. You can see the on the table review and see how it works there. But the conditions it was very late spring. It was raining every afternoon. The conditions were so bad that I just brought it in here and tried this new little setup. And I think I'm going to tweak this and evolve this into something else. But first off, let's give it a quick summary. You know, the space case seems to be no more. I didn't see it on the old catalog for 2020, and this seems to be like kind of the new thing. So instead of an ASIM twin, they still have, what's the one, hang on one sec here. They still have the headspace, which is C3, and it's been a while since I've ridden that, but they still have that headspace. And then this is kind of like the new all-mountain board, and it's a directional twin, kind of a double-ender thing going. So a massive departure from the space case, a board which we loved tremendously. Let's give it a flex here. You know, kind of medium stiff. Feels way more aggressive than you would think for what it is. It felt like kind of, it was funny. I was riding this on one day. I was riding this in the same conditions on the same stuff with Adidas Tactical ADVs and Union Atlases with these two boards, the Dynamo and the BRD and the Molaire too. I just threw in the Molaire to constantly reference, but I rode this with those boards, and it was funny, this felt the most technical and aggressive of all these boards. It might be right there with the Molaire, but that double-ender thing made it feel different. And this is, I think, a 59. I'd be much happier with a 56. That would be my board. Where these felt just right at 59. And what is this the Dynamo is a 56. And that felt right. That felt like the right call, because that borders on like all mountain and free ride. It's kind of on the free ride side of all mountain. Kind of like the, what's it called? The GNU anti-gravity. It's kind of like a nicer version of the GNU anti-gravity to me. Same kind of specs, same kind of taper, a little mellower flex, a little more playful. So that's kind of like playful yet somewhat technical free ride, just like the anti-gravity. And this is like kind of more aggressive, technical all mountain. So, you know, that would kind of be the thing here pop wise. And camber profile, you know, it's like there's almost no early rise with this C3. Just a touch of early rise in comparison to like even boards like, you know, like the Libtech box knife. Has a lot of early rise before the tip and tail, kind of like the BRD except in a twin. And this one doesn't really have as much. It feels very much like a technical traditional camber ride that's for more advanced expert riders. And you know, the edge hold on this is great. You can see it's just a very mellow mag. But it's still very competent in hard snow. Starts to let go in icy snow, but you know, there are other boards like this feels like even less than 0.5, but it might be 0.5 because there's like 0.5, 0.25, and then there's like full mag, which is like 1, I guess. I don't know, but you know, it's got really good edge hold. All Mervin boards do, even if they have the mellower mag. They're really on the upper tier of the edge hold spectrum, but it doesn't grab in soft snow, so that's cool. The turning experience on this, such a powerful, springy carve, but feels aggressive, and sometimes you felt like the board was riding you. I think going to a 56 might really change that and make it a little better. But, you know, that's the perspective I had, you know, with the size I had. And then speed, this thing, or carving, I mean, just great carver, good spring out of the turn, quick turn initiation, but not super quick. 56 would have been quicker, for sure. You know, this thing can bomb. The base has pretty good glide, even though it's dry. I think with a good waxing, you know, really go to town on the waxing thing. You might be really happy with this. And then, you know, uneven terrain, it wasn't the best. It just, you know, if I had the right size, but even this 59 felt like it could turn through uneven snow pretty well. It's just so camber heavy that, you know, it feels like there's some consequence if you get off your game. And then, you know, riding switch, it looks so directional, but it really is kind of a directional twin with a different nose and tail. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, if you're thinking about like, it's kind of like the terrain wrecker. It looks pretty directional, but then you throw it around switch and it's fine. This is like the aggressive terrain wrecker, like terrain wreckers XC2. So the tip and tail are lifted off the snow and they're generally lifted up pretty high. So it's just a really mellow, forgiving, buttery, spinny, floaty board. This is like the exact opposite of that. Just super aggressive and mean and powerful. But both do the same thing, is they look a lot more directional. At first you're like, is this taper directional? And then you look at it carefully and you're like, oh, okay. Okay. It looks pretty double-endery. You know, we'll see in the specs. The catalog this year from Mervin was pretty, like, simple, and they didn't disclose the specs that well, but it looks very double-ender-ish, and they say directional twin on it. So, you know, and it felt directional twin when I was riding switch. And in powder, I didn't get any powder, but I did get some ugly spring slush. And let me just put it this way, I'd rather be on all these other boards. You know, the Dynamo, not so much, but man, I'd way rather be on those boards. But they're tapered directional with some early rise and have better float. This is just like an old Camber board pretty much in powder. It's a cartwheeler. It's not going to be fun. There's a good setback on board, and you know, there's maybe just a little bit of early rise, but it's not like a lot of the other hybrid shapes out there. It's more of an old Camber board, and if you know how to ride powder and camber, I mean a Camber board in powder, you'll be fine. This will be fine. It's not going to be terrible. But if you become accustomed to the hybrid shapes with a lot more early rise in the nose or tail, and you're not going to enjoy this directional float. At least you can set it back pretty far. It's on the good side for an all mountain board. And you know, park, yeah, I would love to ride pipe with this. I actually took some turns through in the pipe, and yeah, again, it's like just over and over again, I'd rather be on the 56. I think it would be a better experience, but this 59, you could get a taste of what it's like, and yeah, it was, you know, you could see it'd be a great pipe board and it'd be a great jump board. Not so much jibs. I'd go get the headspace for that. But overall, I think it's, you know, it's just a more aggressive, technical, all-mountain board. This isn't for everybody. Where, like, in the old all-mountain freestyle asymmetrical twin days when the space case was out and about and everybody was riding twins, that was kind of an everyman's board. This is a far departure from that and from, you know, like the Forrest Bailey line. This kind of sits in a Camber technical world. It just doesn't feel like everyman's board. This feels like it's for more technical, aggressive, you know, all mountain riders. So there you have it.